Welcome everyone to the annual Ohio Bible Quizzing Workshop. We're so glad you're here. My name is Jay Lytle. I'm the Ohio Senior Quiz Coordinator. And over the next few hours, we're going to learn a lot about coaching and how to run a team, how to promote the quiz ministry, some of the ins and outs of tournament planning, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So my one goal is that you leave here with no questions. We're also recording this so that it can be posted online. And if you have someone here who isn't able to, if you have someone back at your home church who isn't able to make it, you can have them watch that online. So I believe everyone got a packet. We are going to open up our first session with basics of coaching, promoting, planning, and logistics. And so first, what I'd like to do is have you pull out your starting from scratch handout. This is a little document that I type up every year with a lot of information that's useful for a new coach, as well as some details about the 2015 quiz year. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I was won to the Lord by a Bible quizzer when I was 15 years old. And I quizzed for 4 years here in Dublin. And then I became a junior quiz coach, and I coached in juniors for 7 years. And this is our 4th year as the Ohio Senior Quizzing Coordinators. I've helped at Nationals as an official 3 times, and both a foul judge, buzzer operator, and as a judge for the National Experienced Quizmaster. And so hopefully I'll be able to help you no matter what angle you're coming from. If you're a brand new coach, experienced coach, quizzer, we'll be able to bring you some of that perspective. Who here is brand new coach? Kind of, you would consider yourself really fresh when it comes to Bible quizzing and still trying to figure things out. And who here has had 1 to 2 years under your belt of Bible quizzing? So kind of a little bit newer to this. 3 to 4 years, over 5 years.
Not me. I was on the 4.
So almost everyone here is fairly new to the quizzing ministry, and it's something where you're going to learn something every single year. So at the top of your document, starting from scratch, you'll see the division breakdown. If there's one thing that I get the most questions about, it's what division does my quizzer qualify as? And so that's a great reference tool. All of these ages are the quizzer's age January 1st that year. And so if someone asks me, does my quizzer qualify for intermediate division, experienced division, I ask them, how old will your quizzer be at January 1st, 2015? And then you can follow right in there. The quizzing ministry is 18 years old and under. I've seen kids quiz as young as 3 years old and do very well. There is one exception to the age rule, and that's in the intermediate division. If a quizzer is a first-year quizzer, in other words, they have never completed a year through the extravaganza, so that's March, if they never quiz past March, then they qualify as a first-year quizzer, so they could be 18 years old. If they're a first-year quizzer, they can quiz in the intermediate division. That's very helpful because Ohio, in particular, is a competitive district. And so for a first-year quizzer to jump right into the experienced division is a lot to ask. And that's why we have the first-year exception rule. Our junior coordinators in Ohio are Maury and Cindy Redmond, and they do a great job. And so any of your questions on the junior side, I can try to help you to answer those, but if I can't answer them, the Redmonds will be able to. And then my wife and I take care of the senior side. Let's go a little bit over the logistics of the month-to-month proceedings. So Bible quizzing is a January through June tournament season, and most people are starting their seasons right around now. If you haven't, that's okay. Often in Dublin, we start in November. We start a quiz season sometimes the week after Thanksgiving. But most often, quizzers start memorizing in October or November to get them ready for that first tournament in January. You'll see in bold there, the tournaments will not be finalized in Ohio until our official district calendar is approved. So I wish I could tell you what all the tournament dates would be in Ohio, and I know many of you have asked me, and so we won't know the dates or the locations or the verse cutoffs until it's finally approved by the Ohio District Board, and that typically happens about a month from now. Last year at the workshop, we did the workshop in November, so I could give you those dates, but since we did it earlier this year, we don't have them available. But you can be confident we'll have one Saturday a month, January through June. Juniors and seniors will be on different Saturdays. And in seniors, we always have the Cincinnati Invitational in February, which is a 2-day tournament, Friday and Saturday. But it's always a great tournament, and I hear this year that we might be returning to the church service rally on the Friday evening, which I'm really looking forward to. That's always a great time. Our state finals will be in June for both, and that is a 2-day tournament, which is always a great time. My one goal for every quizzer is not that you get the most points or the most trophies, but that you make it to state finals and you give it your best every year. And so that is a huge incentive in my mind. It's all about incentives as a coach, motivating your quizzers. And so I guarantee you, in March and April, and increasingly more in May, your quizzers will want to quit. They will not want to finish the season, but you can use something like state finals as a motivational piece to let them know that this is going to be a great celebration at the end of the year. Everyone gets a trophy at state finals. We have a great time. We have games, banquet food, and it's a great celebration. So we want everybody every year to make it to state finals. Now, in the middle of the year, for juniors and seniors, there are regional competitions called extravaganzas, and there's something very interesting happening this year on the junior side. So you'll notice on the senior extravaganzas on page 2, there are 4 senior extravaganzas, like there were this past year. We have the North Central and South Central, Eastern and Western. And the closest one to us looks like it will be Bloomington, Illinois, and Charlotte, North Carolina is a little bit further than that away, depending on where you are in Ohio. And so, but on the beginner side, on the junior extravaganzas, you'll notice there are 6 extravaganzas. They took the Eastern and the Western and split both of those into 2. So now we have Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, and I really am interested to see how that model works, if it does increase the participation, but the closest extravaganza to us on juniors will be the Morgantown, West Virginia extravaganza. So excited to see Morgantown get that tournament. And so that will be the last extravaganza for juniors on April 24th and 25th. And I really recommend taking your quizzers to an extravaganza. Once again, there is a church service during that weekend, and you get to develop friendships with people from other states. And there are friendships that I have to this day from people in California and Missouri and Arkansas and Texas that I met at Bible quizzing extravaganzas and at national tournaments. And they're a great motivational tool because that really is the burnout period, March and April, where the novelty wears off and you're ready to get outside because it's not so cold out. So that's a good motivational tool for quizzers to work hard. Nationals each year for juniors is the last full week of July. And in seniors, it corresponds with Youth Congress, which will be in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Looking forward to that tournament, and that will be the first week of August. So, you want to start a Bible quiz team, and you want every kid in your church to be involved. How do you get them? How do you promote at your church? That's the question that every coach asks themselves. And what we've tried to do at the General Youth Division is make it as easy as possible to be a coach in Bible quizzing. And so we've developed a lot of resources for coaches to help you know how to do that. And so one of the most common ways that people promote quizzing at their local church is using a promotional video. And so we're going to show you on the seniorbiblequizzing.com website a lot of the useful videos that you could use at your local church. And so very often what people do is they ask their pastor if we can have 5 minutes before church service and have a pre-service promotional spot. And you play a video, or you give a testimony, or you have a quizzer quote a few verses, and then you just let the parents and the quizzers, the potential quizzers at your church know that we're going to be starting a ministry, registration is opening up soon, and I'd love to have you be a part of this life-changing ministry. And so let's bring this up on the screen, seniorBibleQuizzing.com, on our resources page. So if you scroll to the top there, what you'll notice is Senior Bible Quizzing has a great website. A lot of these resources, even if you're in the junior side, how many people are just on the junior side in the quizzing? So a handful. And you can still use a lot of these resources for juniors. And so at the top, you've got some events, results. The events has the extravaganzas as well as locations. Results, you can get some recent tournament date information. You register online for extravaganzas here for seniors. For juniors, it's a separate registration that we'll go over. But on our resources page, as we scroll down here, you're going to be noticing our list of verses, some logos. If you have any graphics people at your church and they want to tag their promotional resources with the Bible Quizzing logo, it's very easy to find. They have it in all different formats. Go down a little further. We've got some big graphics, ones for your Facebook page, your Twitter page, banners. A little further, you have our perpetual logo, which is the one that you saw at the top, the SBQ. We now have a permanent logo for quizzing that transcends all years, and then we have your specific logos for, in this case, the Way of Wisdom. And you saw it looks like a road line with sneakers pointed in a direction like you're walking on the Way of Wisdom. So that's this year's logo. But we have our perpetual logo for that SBQ that you see on our sign right here. So you could even make something like this for a poster for your quiz room, something like that. A little further down, you'll notice a lot of articles, and we're going to be going over a lot of these things. But even further, you're going to notice our promotional videos. And so it's on this site, seniorquizzing.com, that you can find videos like Who Will Tell the World, Focus, Obsession, Go Viral. All of these videos. There's a video of a pastor who was a big supporter of Bible quizzing, speaking like his audience is another pastor. And so if you were trying to promote Bible quizzing to your church leadership, you could show them that one. And then there are also, a little bit higher, some videos on what is Bible quizzing, how do I memorize a verse, how do I read a quiz, interrupt, start a quiz ministry. There's all kinds of things to use there. And so my best recommendation, a good place to start at your church, is sometime in the next month. Ask your pastor or your church's youth leader for a few minutes before one of the services and just say, I want to promote this Bible quiz ministry. I really believe in it. Can I just have a few minutes to talk about it? You play a video, they're about 3 to 5 minutes long, and then you stand up and say, we're going to be having an orientation meeting in about 2 weeks. If anyone's even interested, you don't have to commit right now, come to our meeting, and then that's when you let people know a little bit more about it. So that's one way to promote. We also have some videos made by our very own Gary Kufel in the state of Ohio on ohiojbq.com. So also on your second page, you see why JBQ, what is JBQ, and some of those are a little bit longer videos for someone who really wants to know more about the ministry. They go into more detail. Now, let me show you just a few of the videos that were just recently made this year. With the help of the General Youth Division, we were able to put together some videos that have been much needed. Have you ever just wanted to show someone what quizzing looked like but not had a video? Or weren't really sure how to read a quiz and a quiz practice like the quizmaster does at the tournament, we now have that here. So let's go to first one. What is Bible quizzing? Let's click on that one.
Bible quizzing is a ministry of the United Pentecostal Church International and focuses on teaching children and teens the precious Word of God. For decades, Bible quizzing has equipped young people with the knowledge and skills to become worldwide ministry leaders. Bible quizzing is made up of 4 divisions, based on age and experience. Senior Bible quizzing is a ministry of the General Youth Division and is made up of experienced and intermediate teens according to the qualifications listed on the screen. The Intermediate Division was created in 2000 to allow younger teens and rookie quizzers an easier transition into Senior Bible quizzing. Junior Bible quizzing is a ministry of the General Sunday School Division and is made up of junior and beginner teams according to the qualifications listed on the screen. Senior and Junior Bible quizzing are organized on a district level and are coordinated separately. Bible quizzing teams are made up of 2 to 5 quizzers and 1 to 2 coaches from the same church who practice on a weekly basis to prepare for monthly district tournaments. It is also permissible for a single quizzer from one church to join with quizzers from another church if he or she has no other teammates with which to form a team. Teams of quizzers travel around their respective districts during a 6 to 8 month season, competing in monthly tournaments, testing their knowledge of a pre-selected set of Bible verses. Most Bible quizzers start memorizing their verses in the fall in preparation for their quiz season, which often runs from January to August. Contact your district senior or junior Bible quizzing coordinator for more details regarding your Bible quizzing season. Bible quizzers are expected to memorize new verses for each monthly tournament, in addition to all the verses used at the previous tournament that season. Each division learns a different amount of verses from the same set of material that year. For example, in 2013 the material of study was the Book of Psalms, in 2014 the writings of John, and in 2015 the material will be released in late July of 2014. District quiz seasons end in either June or July with a grand finale district tournament to see who qualifies for the North American Bible Quizzing Tournament. Junior Nationals take place the last week of July and Senior Nationals take place the first week of August. At these tournaments, top teams from across North America compete to see who will be crowned the Bible Quizzing Champion. For more information regarding Bible quizzing, please see the Junior or Senior Rules Manuals, which can be purchased at bqmaterials.com. If you are interested in starting one of these life-changing ministries, please take advantage of our free training guide, How to Start a Bible Quizzing Ministry, at seniorbiblequizzing.com. Thank you for viewing this resource of the General Youth Division. For more resources and information, please view our website at seniorbiblequizzing.com.
Alright, so that's a little sampling of what our videos are like. They're good quality. I think it's something that you could be proud to show your local church. And the videos that are also on there about how to read a quiz, how to interrupt, how to memorize a verse are great resources. And so take advantage of those. Some other things you can do to promote quizzing at your local church. What we have done here is a short skit before service, a mock quiz. We wrote a script of a mock quiz where we had adults sitting up at a quiz board right before church, and they did everything that a quizzer could do wrong. And it was really funny, and our church has seen quizzing for many years, so they knew everybody was doing it wrong. But it was a really great way to get people interested. Just using a testimony, having someone up and mentioning how Bible quizzing affected their life is a great way to promote the ministry. What some people do is they go around to each Sunday school class at their church and mention to the kids about all the fun things that they could be involved with. With junior quizzers, some of the main motivators are getting to see your friends, getting to have candy and toys and trophies and ribbons and traveling around. And so those are all great motivational tools for them. For teenagers, what we have found really helpful is, once again, the prospect of seeing your friends from around the district. It's one of the great ways to make friends from all over. I've found that one of 3 things motivates every Bible quizzer. Either competition, wanting to get the trophy, seeing your friends or developing those relationships, and the spiritual motivation of just growing closer to the Lord. And usually it's some combination of those three things, but as a coach, you have to identify what of those three things motivates your quizzers to be there. If their main motivation is to see their friends, and they know their friend's not going to be at the tournament, then you'll know why that week before they're not wanting to show up and they're not interested in coming. So we've got to identify what motivates each child, and parents are a great resource there because they're going to know what motivates their child more than anything else. I mean, sometimes having a money quiz at the church is as good as anything I could possibly do for my junior quizzers, because the idea of them getting a quarter would motivate them to learn 100 verses. And so find out what that is and use that. As a coach, you not only have to promote quizzing and recruit quizzers, you have to recruit coaches too. You simply can't do it on your own. And so part of your job during this off-season is finding godly, committed adults who love God's children, who love God's Word, and who can help you. And my job is to give you all the things you need to do that. So my job is to train those assistant coaches and give you the resources. So how do you get started? What do you buy? Every coach needs a few resources, and there is some startup cost when it comes to starting a quiz ministry. So we'll show you a few of these things. All of the things that I'm about to mention, with the exception of one, can be found at bqmaterials.com. That is the central site for all of our resources. There's also a link page from bqpowers.com. And on that site, as a coach, what you're interested in getting is a few things. Number one, a rules manual. Circle that, star that, underline that. That's the most important thing. 99% of your questions are answered in that rule manual. And so this year, the rule manual looks like this. And it goes over a lot of things. How does a quizzer qualify for a team? What happens on a district and a regional and a national level? It goes over how a quiz works, how to read a quiz, what are the different question types, some points of interpretation, some fine details. What is a foul and not a foul? How do you use a contest and a timeout and a point of order? All of that is found in the rule manual. And so if there's one thing you do in the off season, buying a rule manual and reading is going to be the most valuable thing that you do. Also, you're going to need some score sheets. In the last 4 to 5 years, quizzing has, by and large, switched to a computerized buzzer system. And so the old buzzer system was the 6-light Ericsson Electronics. And the one before that was the Ericsson Electronics with the flipper on it. And so in the last few years, everything has switched to the UPCI quiz and BQ tournament software computerized buzzer system. What we often do here in Dublin is we practice with this one because we have them, and then we simulate tournaments with this one. And I use these as a district coordinator at the tournament. It's just much easier not to have to get out a computer and hook up each one into the ports and connect it into the software. So when we're in practice, it's very easy for us to just open the back of the box and use this. But when you're at the practice, you're going to have to keep track of the scores. And so buying a good set of score sheets is a good idea. You can also keep score on your tablet or on your computer using the BQ tournament software. And I'll show you where to find all of that. You're also going to need practice questions. There's a number of ways you can acquire practice questions, but wherever you go, make sure that you get tournament-ready practice questions. So, through Brother Powers at bqmaterials.com, you can buy his sets of tournament questions. And you either purchase them all at once, or you can purchase them in groups, so you can buy a couple months at a time. And these questions are very well done, and these are the ones that you can actually ask your quizzers in practice. They do a good job of simulating what a tournament-style question will be like, but there are also other avenues. And in just a few days, the General Youth Division is going to put on their website a list of tournament question writers around the country. So one of the big obstacles we've had in the quiz community over the last few years is finding who out there is writing questions. It's been a short list of people, and so there are about half a dozen individuals around the country who could email you a question set, and so just to name a few, Sister Kim Fulbear in Michigan, Brother Jim Knutson in Illinois, and several other individuals in around North America are writing good tournament questions in addition to Brother Powers. You're going to want a concordance. A concordance is just a list of all of the words. When you say to a quizzer, quote the verse that contains the word blank, they're going to go right to that verse in your mind. But unless you as the coach also memorize the verse material, it's hard for you to find out where that word is if it's not listed on your page. And so having a concordance that tells you all the verses that contain the word passive is a really quick and easy way for you to find the answer before the quizzer does. So a concordance is a great idea. They also have a computer version of that at bqmaterials.com. Laminated material, having a set of the verses, is probably going to be your most used resource. You can either get it in page form like this, where it's color-coded, or the flip book form, which a lot of people like, pocket size. It's the exact same as the page form, color-coded. The reason it's color-coded is because it has one-time words highlighted in blue, two-time words highlighted in green. It tells you when you have a unique beginning and a unique ending of the verse. It tells you proper names, geographical locations, body parts, all things that we ask during a quiz tournament. All right? So getting color-coded laminated material is a huge advantage. And then a buzz box. If you don't have a buzz box, I would really recommend it, and I think a great investment would be the computerized buzzer system. They are found at upcquiz.com. upcquiz.com, as well as the software on your computer that runs it. And if you'd like, I can show you before you leave today on my computer how it looks and how it works. What does a quizzer need to quiz? There's a lot of different resources available, but the most commonly used are a laminated set of material. A lot of quizzers really like the pocket set of verses. I saw Stephen had his here, and they're just really portable. Take them to school, look at the verses, and then a box of verse cards. When I quizzed, I learned almost exclusively from verse cards. You've got the location on the front, the verse written out in words on the back, and that's how I memorized. You'd have stacks of verses that you were really confident on, stacks of ones you had yet to learn, and it was really motivating to me to see the stack that I knew get bigger and the one that I didn't know get smaller over the season. They also have verses in song form through bqmaterials.com, and they're fairly well done. A lot of people like those, especially for the beginner quizzers, because it's easier to remember if it's in a song. Some coaches make their own songs. If that's your talent, then feel free, set your voices to song. So there's different study resources. Check those out at BQ Materials. Now, you've got a home church, you want to start a quiz program, you've got some interested people, you got to have an orientation. And an orientation is as simple as having a meeting sometime in the off season. I would do it in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And anybody interested in quizzing can come. And at that meeting, you just talk with people. You tell them, Bible quizzing is coming up. We want to start learning soon. Who's interested? I'll help coordinate ordering your materials. And you can work out payment depending on how you want to do things. A lot of times quizzers purchase their own materials. Sometimes churches will put money towards supporting, subsidizing part of that cost. So you have a meeting, you order materials for quizzers, you give them a schedule for the state of Ohio, which we don't have yet, but you will soon. You will soon. And then you get started sometime in November, and you start practicing. Now, when you want to start practicing, how often do you do it? Let's do a quick little survey here. Michelle, how often? Once a week, twice a week?
Twice a week.
Twice a week, and how? And what day?
juniors, it's Mondays and Thursdays this year, and seniors, it's Sundays, afternoons, and Tuesdays.
And are they like an hour, 2 hours?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half practice, so 2 hour-and-a-half practices in Massillon. Who else? How often Lancaster? Once a week, twice a week?
For us last year, just getting it back up with more new people, because last year I was
Yeah. And so maybe not the same every week. And so that's very common. And a lot of churches will do Bible quiz practice on an off weekdays, so like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. It gives people a little more time. I can tell you what we do here at First Apostolic Church of Dublin. We have practice for 1 hour before service Sunday and before service Wednesday. So we have a Sunday morning service. Quizzers come in an hour before everybody. Some people have a separate Sunday school class for Bible quizzers. And so they go to Bible quizzing Sunday school, and that's when they do their quiz practice. So there isn't one right or wrong way, and you'll find out with your pastor what works best for you. But whatever you do, it has to be consistent. You've got to practice, because it's impossible for one person to stay motivated over an 8-month span to do something when there's so many other alternatives to their time. And so you've got to keep people engaged and motivated, and we'll talk a little bit in the next session about what to do in quiz practice. So you've got to iron out when you're going to practice, and then you've got to register for your monthly tournaments. And I have a three-word phrase there under registrations that's bolded, italicized, and underlined, and it's when we're supposed to register. We register 2 weeks prior. Brother Redmond is just nodding his head back here. 2 weeks prior, please, 2 weeks prior to the tournament, place your registrations. How do you register for juniors? I just learned that this year, junior quizzing is going to have online registration, and I'll tell you the website. You can write it down now. For Ohio Junior Quizzing, the website is going to be OhioBQConnect.com. So OhioBQConnect.com. And here we have it on the screen here. And so you're going to be able to click that button where it says beginner and junior registration, and it's going to link you to the online registration site. Now, you're not going to be able to pay online, so you still have to bring cash or check to the tournament that day. But this will be very helpful so that the coordinators know who to prepare for and who's coming to the tournament and how to prepare the matrix. So this is going to save your coordinator. This is going to add years to the end of their life and save them great years, and this is really good. The senior quizzing also, you can link to the senior quizzing registration site through here as well. And I use a website called Eventbrite. It's an event coordination site. It's really easy to use. You can pay online for seniors. And so this is your one-stop shop for how to register. This website does not replace OhioJBQ.com. OhioJBQ is a great website that tells you where is the tournament. It gives you a map to the tournament. It tells you what the schedule of events that year is, and as well as results. And Brother Gary Kufel takes care of that website. I've got the fees listed on here for juniors and seniors. There is an advantage if you register early for seniors. There's an early bird registration rate that's lower than the regular registration rate. So it's to your advantage to register early. For extravaganzas, you don't register with myself or the Redmonds for extravaganza. We will say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to, give you your money back, because extravaganzas are run by headquarters. Sunday School Division for juniors, the General Youth Division for seniors. So refer to those websites that I list on your page for how to register for extravaganza. Now, nationals, if you qualify for nationals, we register for you. Okay? The Ohio District also pays the cost of your registration as well. So that's a really great service that the Ohio District does. So So next time you see a district official, tell them thanks for supporting Bible quizzing. And I will mention now that Bible quizzing is supported by, for juniors, Save Our Children, and for seniors, She's for Christ. And so if you believe in Bible quizzing, then you believe in supporting those fundraising efforts as well. And so please support the Save Our Children offering and the She's for Christ offering, because Bible quizzing couldn't survive without those. And people, you wonder, doesn't my registration cover all the cost? And the answer is no. The registrations just cover a piece of the cost. And we are definitely supported by those programs. All right. So just a few minutes here before this session is closed. And what I'd like to do is have you pull out your percentage point system page, PPS. And real briefly, I want to go over what this is. Now this is just for senior Bible quizzing, okay? The percentage point system is something that for the last 2 years we have used in senior Bible quizzing. And it is a different way to determine which individuals earn a trophy at the end of a tournament. So at the end of every tournament, there are team trophies and individual trophies. The way we give out individual trophies used to be by just tallying up how many points you got, divide that by how many quizzes you were in. And that's it. The quizzers with the most points earned an individual trophy. We now use the percentage point system to determine individual trophies in Ohio for seniors. And this is a program I really believe in. And what the percentage point system figures out is how many points did a quizzer earn when the quiz could still be won or lost. So before the quiz was locked. Oftentimes there's a point in a quiz where the other team has so many points that it's essentially locked, that the other team can't win. So if there's one question left and the last question's worth 30 points, but you're losing by 100, that quiz is locked. And so percentage point system, it calculates how many points did a quizzer earn before the quiz was locked against them. In other words, how much did that quizzer help their team win? And the reason I like this more than the old way is because it rules out cleanup points at the end. Everyone has seen examples, if you've been around quizzing for any amount of time, of how a quiz was locked against another team, and the other team cleaned the last 30 pointers up, and the quizzer ended up being the highest scoring individual and earning a trophy, even though they might not have earned those points against full competition. In other words, they had an inflated average because they cleaned up the last 3 questions because the other team wasn't buzzing in anymore. And everybody has also been in the scenario where you had this conflict of interest because you wanted your quizzer to get more points even though your team had already locked the quiz. In other words, if you had already won the quiz, there's a couple questions left. You don't want your quizzers to buzz in because you don't want them to get negative points. But you also want your individual quizzers to buzz in because you want them to get an individual trophy. The percentage point system completely solves all those problems. So after a quiz is locked, the rest of the points don't count toward an individual's average. And then it basically extrapolates their average out. So if you look on here, the example that's listed on the front page toward the top, third bullet point, it says, if a quizzer earned 120 of the 240 points through question 16, they earn 50% of the total available points, while the quiz was still on the line. If you put that accomplishment into Bible quizzing terms, we multiply their percentage, that 50%, by the total amount of points in a quiz, which is 350. So their PPS average would not be 120. It would be 175. And so that's a little bit more of a true representation. If you have a quizzer that's so good that they earned 120 points through question 16, that's hard to do. And so that quizzer, accomplish more than a quizzer who might have cleaned up the last 3 points because the other team wasn't buzzing in anymore. And so it puts accomplishment into perspective a little bit. Now, if you look at the back page on the PPS document, you'll see that in the end, PPS doesn't change a whole lot. But what it often does is it rearranges the order of the individual trophies. And if you just gave it the eye test, and you looked at, okay, here's the state of Ohio, who are the top quizzers at this tournament at the state of Ohio, the PPS really does a great job, and it typically has the most competitive quizzer at the top, second, third, fourth. It does a great job of it. I've identified the quizzers who have really been competitive at that tournament. So this is the way we do our individual awards in the state of Ohio. Like I said, it often doesn't change much, but I feel like it's more of an accurate representation of who the top quizzers at a tournament are. And we are the first, and to my knowledge, the only district that has adopted this. It's been around for several years, and I believe that soon many districts may be moving toward it. Does anyone have any questions for this session at this time? We're going to take a few-minute break here, but want to give you the opportunity to, yes?
You had mentioned the score, or the rules manual. Is there any major changes between last year's and this year's?
Yeah, so the question is, have there been changes to the rule manual from last year to this year? And there have been, and we will go over those at the fourth session, Into the Mind of a Quizmaster, Rules, Procedures, and Common Mistakes. And I'll go over with you all of the new rules over the past couple of years. Any other questions for now? All right, let's take a 5-minute break, and we will move on to the next session at 1 o'clock.